Okay, so just one more time, the way this works is whenever someone asks for something here, you're telling Express to actually get it from here. So whenever someone asks for something in assets, you're telling Express to actually get it from public. So if you still have public inside your script tag, it's not going to work because Express is like, oh, well, I know that I should do something for assets, but you're not telling it to do anything special for public. So when someone types in this URL, Express is going to look in this folder over there. That's the rule for that one. Aside from the fact that that's kind of confusing, and I know that, did any other questions come up? Cool. How are you guys liking this so far? I mean, well, okay, that's not the right question to ask. How comfortable are you feeling with it so far? Maybe I'll do it that way. Decent? Yeah? Cool. What's up, Adrian?
Fine, but you always ask that question right before you throw it.
Let's see what the no. Oh. It's not that bad. The rest of this should be okay. Oh, man. Yeah, my first WDI, like, they started making fun of me because I said "and all that jazz" all the time. Like, I would say blah 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 and all that jazz, and so they would make fun of me for always doing that. I always have something. In this case, it's wombats, I guess. Other questions? Cool. All right. So this next step is going to be adding in another view. So this is going to be adding in a candidate's index root. So I want it so that whenever anyone goes to /candidates, res, it's going to render a candidate's index view that I've yet to make. Candidates index.hbs. And what should I put in here? I'll say there are X candidates. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I just want to make sure that works. So whenever someone goes to candidates index, there we go. And so now if this works properly, I should be able to go to /candidates and see there are n candidates, and there it is. I'm going to change this background color. Sorry, totally forgot about that. Instead, I'm just going to do text align center. There we go. Okay, cool. So now I have two views in here. I have one at / and I have one at the index. So here is a multi-page Express app. That's all there is to it. And actually, you could stop here. You could stop here and like just make a fully functioning server with this. I mean, if all you need to do is just serve up HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then you're basically done. Everything we're doing from here on out is just adding in new like dynamic stuff to make this work. But you already know enough to make just like a standard HTML serving Express app.
Go back to your candidates index HBS.
Yep, just some HTML. All right. It's because inside the main layout, I put this ahref right here. And so that's just going to take you to /. It's just going to take you to localhost 3000 /. Yep.
And the other one takes you to that.
Yep, exactly. Adrian?
So this might be, like, you know those portfolio pages we have to make for, right now, I'm using this about the about me pages or whatever. This might be a useful thing to do if you're moving between static pages, like your resume and your whatever.
Yeah, sure. Although, honestly, if you're just doing static pages, this is probably more trouble than you need to go to. I mean, honestly, like, GitHub pages or something would probably be fine. You don't really need a special server to just do static pages. But one advantage of this is that you do have, like, a layout that's the same on every page. So, like, every page of this has when president on top. So if you really wanted that, then, yeah, that might be a good thing to do. All right? Right?
Is there a reason why, like after 10 seconds, the server can crash?
After 10 seconds, what?
It just, like, crashes.
There probably is a reason, but I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Put it out on Slack. Adrian?
Mine was doing that when I had those two routes that you were talking about, like for those two HTML files that I'm kind of trying to serve up, and I had the render and the send. It was crashing, so it probably means you have some kind of duplicate of something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, Naren, I would just see if you can figure out if it happens after 10 seconds, then it probably happens whenever you try to go to a certain route. So like whenever you try to go to /candidates, it crashes.
I just wait and it crashes.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, slack it out. Okay, so that is a second view. I don't want it to say there are n candidates. I want it to say an actual number. So now we're going to talk about, in Rails, you would do something like, at artist equals whatever. We're basically doing the equivalent of that now. Now we're going to get into passing data into the view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a second argument to render. And it has to be an object. It has to be an object, so it has to have curlies. And I'm going to say num candidates is 32. Now with that done, I should be able to go in, not there. Okay, num candidates 32. I should be able to go in here and do, in handlebars, num candidates. And I should see 32. So here I am passing data into the view. It's just adding a second argument on here, which is an object, and then this right here is whatever that variable is going to be called. So if I called this one banana hammock, then what would I have to write in here? Yeah, exactly. Really, I just wanted everyone to say banana hammock. And there it is. Still works perfectly fine. Okay?
So is that how we would make it so that things that are within the scope of, I guess, that particular page, we need to make sure we put its variables or functions within that so we can access it?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right. Yeah. So there's that. Right?
I keep bringing up Angular because I know we're going to get to it eventually. Do those handlebars interfere with Angular?
Yeah, they do. Hold that thought. Took us a long time to figure that one out, but now we know. Okay, so, obviously this is pretty substandard. I'm not just going to hard code in the number of candidates. I wanted to, be some actual candidates, get some actual data from somewhere. So we're going to start sort of moving that direction. We're not going to use a database yet, but we're sort of going to pretend like we're using a database. So I'm going to, Kyra, can you hold it? So I'm going to create a new folder, a DB folder. Shit, just created it inside my Git folder. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so I just created a DB folder, and inside it I'm going to put a seeds.json, and then I'm going to put some fake seed data in here. We have 3 candidates. Steve, year 2024. I'll just copy and paste this because I'm lazy. Barry, 2008. And W in 2000. Okay, excuse me. First I want to make sure this is valid JSON. So I'm just going to copy and paste the whole thing, go over to JSONlint, paste it in here, and hopefully it comes up green. And it does. So this is valid JSON. Awesome. Okay, so since this is valid JSON, now I'm going to actually do something with that data. I'm going to create a new folder, a new file, connection.js, and then it's going to do 2 things. It's going to do var seed data equals require seeds. Okay, so that's the first step. What this is doing is, notice that here it has a dot slash. What's the difference between dot slash and not dot slash?
Dot slash means it's a file.
Exactly. Dot slash means it's a file. So it's looking around for a file called seeds. This is seeds.json. Before I just did .js. It works either way. It'll look for something ending in either .js or .json. I don't really know what happens when you have both. So anyway, we'll just assume that's never going to happen. Okay, so I wanted to load that seed data. Then I'm going to go through the remaining steps here, and then I'll work back through them to talk about what's going on. So I'm doing module.exports. It's going to send out an object containing all of the seed data that I just loaded in. And then in here, I'm going to require that connection. Okay, so I want to require this connection.js file. So I'm going to begin this require with what?
The slash.
// Yep. I'm hammering this in because it always trips people up. But it's inside this DB folder, so I'm going to do DB/connection. So it's going to look for a DB folder and then a connection file inside that. The last step should be down here. Instead of num candidates 32, I'm going to say candidates db.candidates. And then in here, I should be able to do candidates.length. And if everything works, I should see 3. And there it is, 3. And then one last thing before we go on. Actually, no, I'll get to that in a minute. I'll stop there. Okay, so there are 3 candidates. And if I add an additional candidate onto this, like name Jorge, then this should become 4. And it does. Okay, so let me walk back through those steps. The first one was I created this seeds.json file, standard JSON file, nothing fancy about it. The second thing I did was create this connection.js file. The first thing it does is load that seeds file. Express, if something looks like JSON, it's automatically going to parse it as JSON. So I don't need to do like json.parse or whatever here. Express automatically figures it out. So it loads up that seeds file, so it gets that array of candidates, and it saves that array of candidates into seed data. Then what I return out of this file is that seed data. I'm packaging it inside an object here, but I'm sending that seed data back out of that file.
And exports mean what again?
So exports is what should come out of that file. When someone requires this file, what are they going to get out of it? So if I did module.exports equals Kyra, then when someone requires this file, they would just get the string Kyra. And then in here, I require that connection file. And so remember the connection file looks like this. So it's as if I was saying var db equals that. And now I can put that down here, this db.candidates thing, and it shows up in my view. All right, Patrick.
I'm a little confused why you need a connection file. Could you just do like var candidates equals require seeds?
Yeah, totally. The reason I'm putting in this connection file right now is because we're going to need an actual connection file later on to connect to the database. And so I'm just sort of mocking it up for right now, making little baby steps. I know what I'm going for, but I'm going to do little baby steps up to that point. Jeff.
I'm a little weirded out by the DB dot candidates.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the DB there is not referring to your DB folder.
Nope.
Or,
It's referring to this, whatever is returned out of this connection file. I'm not actually doing anything with the database yet. I'm just sort of mocking it up because I know I'm going to be doing something with the database at some point. So I'm just sort of faking it right now so that when I do actually transition to using a database, I don't have to do so much. It's not such a big transition.
For the future, it will still be DB is permanent. It'll be DB dot my database name.
It'll be a little bit different, but same sort of idea. Okay?
So kind of touching on what Jeff was just saying. So anything that's db dot whichever is going to search for some sort of variable or function that has that name within a db folder. Or
Nope. So this is, right now, these files aren't really different from any other file. If I call this,
I mean the db dot part, the db dot candidates.
no, that's just coming from this right here. So if I call this Hillary Clinton, then it's going to be Hillary Clinton .candidates down here. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I'm just calling it DB because I know that down the road I'm going to be doing something with the database. I'm not touching a database yet, but I might be at some point.
I have one more question.
Kyra.
I want to ask before because in our index, no, in our HTML,
Mm-hmm.
I saw that we had 2 brackets on the last step that we did versus 3.
Mhm.
And we were discussing that in Express is 3. So what's the
No, in Express it's only 2. The only place it's going to be 3 is with this body. This is the only place where you're going to see 3 curlies. Everywhere else it's going to be 2.
Because it's in the HBS.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they chose 3 for body. I don't really know what's up with that. But everywhere else, yeah, it's going to be 2.
Okay.
Body is the only thing that's 3. And the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to make it print out each of the candidates. So I'm going to do each, I always forget the syntax, each candidates as candidate, href/candidates/ candidate name. Candidate.name. Okay, if that worked, I should see each of the candidates on here. There they are, Steve, Barry, and W. And I'm just going to flesh out a bit more. Candidate name for president in candidate.year. That's year. There we go. And there we go. So these links don't go anywhere yet. I haven't made that page, but I have this all set up. So they're trying to be somewhat Ruby-ish here, like having candidate in pipes right here. This is as if I were doing, what would it be in Ruby? It would be at candidates.each do candidate. So they're trying to make it look sort of like that, sort of the same general style. You're going to see, so this each thing in here, it's called a helper in Handlebars. There are a couple of them. There's each, there's if, there are a couple others like that. But I would say each is the one you're going to use the most, each and if probably. They always start with a pound like this on the first one, and they always end with a slash like that. So it's just their own sort of goofy syntax for doing that. And it's always going to look just like this. It's always going to follow this exact same format. In the example in there, there are actually two things in these pipes. There's also index. You can probably guess what that's going to be. If I put index over here, then I see 0, 1, 2. So you also automatically get that thing. I'm not actually going to do anything with it here, but I could if I wanted to. So that's it for me doing this stuff. Then you guys are going to catch up. So what questions before I do that? Kyra.
Can you explain the backslashes with the?
So this is just the syntax for it.
It's linking to the candidates, but that's my first time seeing it, the slash in the front and the end. So okay, so it's going to have candidate in the URL. It's going to have candidates, then the candidate name.
Yep. So if I look at the HTML over here, then I see candidate/Steve, Barry, W, just like that.
Okay.
If I change this to candidate.year, then it would be candidate 2024, 2008, 2000, just like that.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, cool. So I'm going to give you guys, how much time? I'll give you another 6 minutes for this one.